I just feel very full and very honored. It's been many, many years. Just want to thank the Grammys, every songwriter, every collaborator, every producer, all of the hard work. I want to dedicate this to Miss Martell, and I hope we just keep pushing forward, opening doors. God bless y'all. Thank you so much.
Beyoncé isn't just a singer, she's a global empire, a billion-dollar brand, a cultural institution. But what if behind the polished image, the Grammy speeches, and the empowerment anthems lies something far more calculated? What if the rise of Beyoncé Knowles wasn't just about talent, but about control, power, and decisions that left a trail of casualties behind her? Before she became Queen Bey, Beyoncé was just a girl from Houston, Texas. Born in 1981 to Matthew and Tina Knowles, she was raised in a household where performance was everything. Her father, a Xerox sales executive, didn't just believe in her potential, he engineered it. Matthew Knowles ran her early life like a startup. Singing lessons, dance classes, auditions, everything was about turning Beyoncé into a product. A perfectly shaped star, molded before she could even become her own person. By the time she was 7, Beyoncé was winning local talent shows, and the family formed her first group, Girls' Time. But when the group lost on Star Search, something snapped. Matthew Knowles became obsessed with fixing the loss. He cut members, reshaped the group, and began what would become a ruthless campaign to get his daughter to the top. He quit his corporate job and risked everything, even his family's financial stability, to manage Beyoncé full-time. But this wasn't just fatherly love. This was an obsession with control. Eventually, Girls' Time evolved into Destiny's Child, but not without drama. Matthew Knowles was accused of manipulating the group's image and finances. Original members Latavia Robertson and LaToya Luckett were suddenly dropped after challenging his leadership. Lawsuits followed. Public backlash ensued. The media painted Beyoncé as complicit, or worse, protected. While the group was sold as a sisterhood, insiders claimed it was always a machine centered on Beyoncé. Still, the music hit hard. Say My Name and Survivor turned Destiny's Child into global superstars. But as the spotlight grew, the group shrank. More members were quietly removed or marginalized. Eventually, Destiny's Child became just 3 women: Beyoncé, Kelly Rowland, and Michelle Williams. And even then, it felt more like Beyoncé and the others. By 2003, Beyoncé officially went solo. But in truth, she had already been running the show for years. Her debut solo album, Dangerously in Love, dropped like a cultural nuke. Crazy in Love, her duet with Jay-Z, wasn't just a song, it was a brand launch. Jay-Z, a hip-hop mogul, and Beyoncé, a rising pop queen, became the ultimate power couple. But some saw their relationship less as romance and more as empire building. Jay-Z gave her street credibility. Beyoncé gave him mainstream access. It was perfect synergy. Too perfect. Their partnership worked, but it also became the blueprint for Beyoncé's entire career. Every move planned, every angle leveraged. Nothing was spontaneous. Critics began to wonder how much of Beyoncé's image was authentic and how much was performance. Then came Sasha Fierce, Beyoncé's proclaimed alter ego, a darker, more aggressive version of herself. Some fans saw it as creative exploration. Others weren't so sure. The sudden appearance of dual personalities, the cryptic hand gestures, pyramid symbols, and occult references in her visuals. Conspiracy theorists had a field day. Illuminati whispers grew louder. And while most laughed them off, Beyoncé never clarified or denied them. She leaned into the mystique, because controversy keeps people watching. But perhaps the most shocking power move came when Beyoncé cut ties with her father. Matthew Knowles had guided her entire career, but in 2011, he was fired as her manager. Officially, it was a professional split. Unofficially, rumors swirled of financial misconduct, infidelity scandals, and growing tension within the family. Beyoncé didn't just let him go, she erased him from her professional life entirely. A clean break. Some saw it as her stepping into full independence. Others saw it as cold, strategic, calculated. And that's when Beyoncé's real transformation began. With Parkwood Entertainment, she became her own label, manager, and production company. No more middlemen. She now controlled every song, every visual, every frame of her narrative. She rarely gave interviews. She didn't need to. She didn't trust journalists. She was the media. Beyoncé wasn't just in the industry anymore. She was the industry. Then came the power flex to end all power flexes. In 2013, she dropped a full visual album, Beyoncé, with zero promotion. No warning, no interviews, just 14 songs and 17 videos on iTunes. The industry was stunned. No one had ever done it, and it worked. Beyoncé had reached a level of control where she could bypass the entire music machine. The message was clear: she doesn't follow the rules, she makes them. But control has its cost. Beyoncé's brand became so polished, so protected, that fans began to question what was real. When she finally let us in with Lemonade, her deeply personal, politically charged visual album, people were stunned. She opened up about infidelity, trauma, and betrayal. She gave the world an intimate look at her marriage to Jay-Z, including his alleged cheating. The album was raw, beautiful, and brutal. But some critics couldn't help but ask, was it too perfect? Was it vulnerability? Or branding? Jay-Z later responded with 444, confirming everything we already suspected. But by then, the couple had turned their marital crisis into a $1 billion art project. Was it empowerment or monetized pain? As Beyoncé's activism became more pronounced, highlighting Black excellence, feminism, and generational trauma, some began to question the sincerity. Was she genuinely invested in these causes? Or were they simply themes she knew would resonate with audiences and critics? She rarely speaks out publicly. She doesn't give live interviews. Her political stances are mostly confined to visuals, lyrics, and controlled messaging. Even her 2016 Super Bowl performance, which paid tribute to the Black Panthers, felt less like rebellion and more like high-level marketing. Her fans, known as the Beehive, defend her at all costs, but their loyalty borders on fanaticism. When critics speak up, the Beehive swarms. Online harassment, doxing, death threats. It's become a toxic ecosystem where Beyoncé remains above reproach, shielded by the very people who idolize her, and yet she never tells them to stop. She stays silent. Her silence is power. Then there's her feminism. Beyoncé champions independence and female empowerment. But behind the scenes, former employees and dancers have spoken out about low pay, harsh working conditions, and strict contracts. There's a disconnect between the message she sells and the reality she oversees. She built an empire for herself, but how many people were stepped on in the process? And still, she reigns. Her 2018 Coachella set, dubbed Beachella, was historic. It paid homage to Black college culture, African heritage, and her own perfectionist legacy. The Netflix doc Homecoming only added to the myth. But again, the message was clear. Beyoncé doesn't want a documentary about her. She wants her version of a documentary. No outside eyes, no independent narratives, just her lens, her rules. In 2022, she returned with Renaissance, a celebration of queer culture and Black joy. It was vibrant, defiant, and again, highly curated. Beyoncé has mastered the art of cultural co-signing. She borrows aesthetics, references underground movements, and packages them into global products. She elevates, but she also profits. Every move she makes is both a celebration and a transaction. So what's the real story here? Beyoncé rose to the top with talent, yes, but also with ruthlessness. She cut ties, silenced critics, and controlled her brand with an iron grip. Her journey isn't just about breaking ceilings. It's about owning the entire building. She turned herself into a myth. But myths don't have flaws. Myths don't give interviews. Myths aren't questioned. And maybe that's the point. Beyoncé isn't just an icon. She's a mirror, reflecting the best and worst of fame, power, and control. She's everything we worship, and everything we should fear. Because when someone becomes too perfect to be challenged, they stop being human. They become a god.